Welcome to an apparently not synchronatic episode opening of the F and Movie Podcast
today. I just can't do it.
Yeah, they're all full of yellow cake.
Yeah.
Which actually was my nickname in high school.
I feel like to synchronize an intro would belie an idea that there's going to be a mutual enjoyment of this movie.
Yeah, that's fair.
That would help.
What movie are you referring to, Nathan? Price?
Billy Madison.
I was going to say not.
I know you were going to say Happy Gilmore.
Now, viewers, if this came out in the right timeline, you would understand, like, I love this movie already, and you would know that from our Halloween video that would have came out on video, because I dressed as Billy from Billy Madison. He did as a butler. He did as like a horse or something. And Nathan dressed as who knows what, but apparently it wasn't politically appropriate, so we don't get to see it.
Old
I
Greg
was
blackface.
Horror from the Page Master.
Is that what you were?
Yeah.
I genuinely thought it was just old Greg blackface.
No.
But anyway, I say that to preface, like, I dressed up as Billy for Halloween, so you would already know my thoughts.
Some would say that you live Billy.
I'm pretty sure you were Billy.
I wish I was Billy.
Is this inspired by your life events? Like,
but instead of on a big hotel property, it's just farmland.
yes,
everywhere.
like, unironically, this I don't mean this as a roast, but it will come off that way. Is that I
What
watched
is
this
today?
right,
October.
Yeah, I watched this movie
Great
and
line.
I just kept thinking, like, you know, sometimes you like movies because you find them so relatable, and I was just like, yeah,
This is it.
this is it. That's it this time, isn't it?
But anyway, viewer, in case you didn't know what this 1995 cinematic classic
Many of
was
our viewers
about,
may not have been born by then.
that is true.
So-
Yeah.
But I mean, Tall Chris and Mom were alive at this point, so
that's all
there's
that
our
matters.
other two viewers.
Yeah.
But Billy Madison is Adam Sandler, pretty hot off of his SNL days, trying to get into the film world. He's playing a character named Billy Madison, one of the original man children you now see on film everywhere. He plays the son of this hotel magnate who basically is wanting to retire, but doesn't want to pass the company on to Billy because he's an idiot. So to prove he's not an idiot, he goes back to school, and each grade he has to take for 2 weeks, and then he can move on to the next one. And once he graduates high school, he gets to inherit this billion-dollar company.
How organic it was that he just came up with it on the fly.
On the spot?
I'll tell you what I'll do to make it true to you.
In 2 weeks. Why
2 weeks
Right, and,
in every grade.
What's the arbitrary amount for all of this? And what's worse, right, is that his dad is like, yeah, that's tracks.
You know what, son? Yes.
Anybody that has a high school level education could do exactly what I do if they have enough money. So really quick, I'd once read, I forget where it was, but somebody had made a comment that said, like, in this run of Adam Sandler's movies, so this Happy Gilmore, that, you know, like the
Waterboy.
Right. What a lot of people consider, like, the holy Adam Sandler period is that about, like, 9 out of 10 times in these movies, objectively, he is the bad guy of this of this world.
That is what I noticed on this has been like my 20th rewatch or whatever, probably. And like this time, like I texted Mason, was like, Billy's like an asshole. like I am very much surprised how much I didn't like him this time. Which
also,
it's not gonna knock my score down a ton, but
It should.
it still surprised me.
and the guy who was supposed to get the job, like
Yeah.
the one who the father had
Eric?
chosen,
Yeah.
he wasn't that bad of a dude.
Until the end of the movie.
Until the end of the
Until
movie.
end.
When he's like, business ethics. Give me another one.
That in itself is, listen, so many things from that part of the movie are well worth talking about, but let's take our time.
Okay.
Let's
Yeah.
take our time. We've got a
Let's
feast.
salivate a little bit on
And,
the
and
early
Price
stages.
Price wants us to talk about this at length. So
Apparently I do.
well,
Marriage Story we already talked about entirely too long.
I
So.
know. Well, and you wanted us to talk
This
at length
week.
about that, and we did. So
Another 9.5+ movie for a price bell.
yeah,
I did not give that 9.5.
I'm sure you did.
Yeah.
I did not.
you did give it a boner though. That was
You
weird.
I gave it
biggest
one boner
hard
out
on.
of 3.
Yeah. What?
One boner out of 4. Sorry, that
I
would
was
make
gonna say,
more
who does
sense.
not-
that makes more sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, which one of us does?
No
Dylan,
question
please
more.
continue.
So, all right. lot of my opinions are locked in the tail end of it, so I don't want to. Let's start with the teachers and the school and the setting and stuff like that. I'm just gonna set that as the premise, and I'll let you guys talk because a lot of my thoughts are on the tail end of this movie.
I mean, I liked all the teachers, but the only thing I could think of
Did
whenever...
you like the one that decided to start rubbing
Glue.
Like, glue? Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
It was doing seances.
But it was
like,
so
in
accurate.
her-
Like every teacher in this movie, you've had that teacher
I
at
agree.
some point. Like
she was Miss Frizzle.
you've had that
Yeah.
loony teacher where you're like, this person is insane, and the
Yeah.
fact that they can teach children is crazy. And Veronica Vaught, everybody's had that hot teacher that like you just want to be with but can't. Apparently Billy can.
Well, in Grayson County,
all
let
the
me
time.
tell you,
there's a possibility.
there's always a chance.
You said can't.
Yeah, I'm saying you just got to go to the right school. But
The teachers, I mean, aren't really the focal point. I mean, besides Veronica Vaught, the only ones who really get any screen time are Veronica Vaught, of course, and the first grade teacher.
And the principal.
yeah, and Principal Russell
Principal
Face.
Max.
Yeah.
Principal was clutch.
Yeah.
I liked him a lot.
That Valentine's thing, that like I love the music going over it, and then like all the girls are like, and then he says, "I was like, will you be mine, Billy?" And he looks up, it's like, "What in the world?" And he's like, "P.S. I'm horny."
I think there's a layer for those wondering and can't like they're visual thinkers like me. Vaughn, right, hot teacher,
Mhm.
yeah, is also Sonya Blade from the original Mortal Kombat films.
But more importantly, we've reviewed a movie that she's in already.
What else was she?
Can anybody get it?
House on Haunted Hill.
It was
Yeah.
House on Hunt. That's right.
Nathan, I thought you would be there.
I remember it was one of these movies.
Yeah,
you wouldn't.
right.
You wouldn't stop calling her Vaughn.
Yeah, because I was the one like
yeah.
screaming about it. I was
And
like,
we're like,
she's...
shut up, pick that movie, and then you did, and here we are, months later. No, I think that. All right, talking about and I know I'm not faulting the movie too hard for this, but suspending believability in an Adam Sandler comedy.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna fault it too hard, but man, on this watch, it's just like, why does she like him? Why does she
Yes.
like him other than the fact that she's written to like him?
But no, because he has money. That
Yes.
is
That's gotta be
100%.
it.
That's the only
reason.
thing you can
The
pick
only
up.
motivation as a reasonable brain adult, you look at this and you say, "Oh yeah, that's an easy like marry, divorce, make away with a paycheck."
That's what she's doing. I mean, I think like you can like, infer, like it's not 100%, but like
I don't
you
think
can
that's
infer
implied,
that. Like
but
she
yeah.
actively dislikes him the whole time. He assaults her
Yes.
at one point, and then she's like,
But
oh,
this is the
he
90s,
covered-
so
he
you're just
covered-
gonna joke about
Basically,
that.
the point that turned for her in the movie was like him doing the pee thing
Yeah.
with the kid.
Well, that's
Yeah.
the only
Yeah.
wholesome
And then that-
part of the movie.
And
is-
then like all of a sudden she's infatuated with him. So
Well, so I hate to like I'm
That's-
gonna mention like Happy Gilmore a little bit because I think that these movies have a ton of parallels.
that's fair.
But there's the almost identical situation where like he gets the girl almost in the exact same way in Happy Gilmore, where it's just like it's like a reporter or something.
it is.
Yeah,
I forgot
and-
her name. I can see her.
Yeah, and it doesn't make any sense for him to get the girl, but I do think that that's such a cliche that happens in movies. You're gonna get the girl at the end, or you're gonna work on the
Especially
girl.
in the 90s.
Yeah,
Right, but this
it's-
one, it didn't even wait till the end, right? Like
No,
it
no,
happens in the middle in
yeah.
a very jarring way.
Yeah.
He's like, she hates him, he pees his pants, and then she loves him.
Yeah.
And if that sounds jarring to hear in one sentence, watch a movie.
pretty much what
right?
it was,
Like, yeah.
And she shows up to one of his celebrations for passing one of the
With
grades.
snack packs.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think that was supposed to be like
Product placement.
It is.
Oh,
yeah.
big time.
Pro-
huge.
There was something else too.
The at the beginning they talk about like if you had those delicious Tostitos crackers,
Oh,
I would have had one.
Yeah.
I forgot what it was. It was something like that. But I also want to talk about more about the beginning of the movie because I think the beginning of this movie is so good.
You would.
Because
you
it
would.
throws you right into like what this movie is. Like it immediately starts with Adam Sandler doing a silly voice, doing
Drinking
the like
soup.
suntan lotion, like he's like drunk like at the pool,
Yeah.
and that's when he goes and chases after the penguin and everything. And that's when the title, because you know in the 90s like the credits rolling over the beginning was really important, and I thought this was a good way for them to incorporate that just with stupid stuff going on in the background.
Credits rolling in the beginning and how movies like shaped, like first act wise especially compared to like end act, I think is like an interesting whole thing in itself that is nothing to do with this movie, but I just think it's fascinating. On a whole separate note, actually about the movie, yeah. So this whole beginning scene of him drinking soup in the most obnoxious way.
I couldn't
Of
stand the
him
first
eating-
18 minutes of this movie.
Oh my
Couldn't
god, it's
stand
so
it.
good.
Bro, dude, that
Three
toy-
nods.
and just his actions and his immaturity, it's like turned on a scale of 1 to 10, it's turned on a 20.
Even for this movie and
Yeah.
this character, it is It is
jarring.
screeching.
Come on, it is peak comedy when he's like eating the soup and
That's
he's just
annoying.
like you could go to your room and he's like, I don't know, but this guy can room with me, and he just bites his arm.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what the best person was in the first 20 minutes of this movie.
Eric.
No, was like the not the nurse. What the fuck was she? She was the housemaid.
Oh, the housemaid.
Oh,
Yeah.
Juanita?
You want me to take your shirt off?
She was probably the best, and it wasn't even great. It was just like,
You want me to
Yeah.
take my shirt off for you? That
and he's
makes
like,
you feel
"Ah,
better.
you're crazy, yeah.
Like,
That's
no.
The deal's
gross."
still on the table.
Yeah.
No, she. So, all right, this is skipping ahead a little bit, right?
I liked that part, but I was also just like, it's just this crazy black woman.
That
that's just,
came
like,
that
so
came around to
sexual.
me on like the lunchtime when she's trying to take her shirt off, right? Like that's the one where I'm like, all right, she's winning me over. Now.
The whole time, I think I laughed more at this rewatch than I have in a long time, because I was thinking about the fact, I'm like, I'm making Nathan watch this right now, and he hates it.
Yeah.
It got about 5 chuckles through the whole movie.
Okay.
5 chuckles.
Okay, you did better than me on this then, because I got I think 3, and I'm trying to remember
So
what.
part of it
Chuckle
is
plenty,
because
but-
there were things that like I don't even know if I've watched this movie before. I may
No,
have.
that's interesting.
But there were a couple of things that like came up that are very memed that I was just like, oh, that's where that came from.
Yeah.
Like the bus driver having some like
Chris Farley.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's-
Good, great, grand, wonderful. No
That's
yelling
the
on
whole
the
thing
bus.
of like, you know, like, but you could imagine. if
But you
you
can
did.
that is such a believable like that is a conversation that has happened many times, and I think male
Younger
culture,
days.
younger male culture,
Yeah,
right? That
yeah.
is a discussion.
Yep.
And fun fact about that, the scene before, like he only gets like 2 scenes in the
Yeah,
movie.
he doesn't
Yeah.
have very
But
many lines.
when they're on the bus and they throw the sandwich and hit the bus driver,
Love
and,
it.
and he's just like, everybody wants to mess with the bus driver, and he makes his face turn red or whatever. Apparently, like he improvised doing that,
I believe it.
just trying to kill himself like that. So
Right.
thought that was funny. And the banana
I was
peel.
gonna say, what about the
banana
payout
peel,
with the
yeah.
old oil? That
one,
was
one of the big 3 for me.
Chekhov's banana peel.
Yeah.
Like when he threw it out, he's like, that's going to be used in some way.
Uh-huh.
And then finally, like, Doyle rules. And then, like he's just driving and you see him go.
he clearly just runs over it too,
Yeah.
and then you see the steering wheel just doing this.
And no explosion. or
No,
anything.
whatsoever.
nothing.
Cut off.
They couldn't afford a CG for the explosion. It was just right on over and it's crashing noises with it. No, that's definitely okay. That was the other 3.
You hear all these parts that we're actually chuckling at, and none of them had Adam Sandler, the man-child.
No, and that's
not a single one.
I'll tell you right now, my other 2 laughs also without Adam Sandler. So credit
I'm sure kids were involved.
at times,
Yeah.
credit to this Adam Sandler run of films. Like I think a lot of his comedy friends did a better job of outshining him in these films a lot, and in this film especially.
His 2 friends,
I'll-
Frank and
So they're
Whatever.
good. I don't
Yeah.
like.
I love them.
I thought they were kind of like okay, semi chuckle count for like him being like, hey, you want us to get a bunch of beer to like this donkey or something like that? And he's like, well, maybe not right now. And he's like, all right, I'll go pour some in a bucket. Like a little bit is kind of like, yeah, all right. But the real star, surprisingly, is Steve Buscemi in this one for me.
He's in it for like a minute.
Yeah, and every a total minute like of runtime, including both of his scenes,
Yeah.
are the funniest and also darkest scenes in this whole movie.
When he has the serial killer list.
Okay, so
yeah, that list that was one of my few chuckles.
yeah,
And,
yeah.
and he just plays it so straight,
I know,
which I
it's-
think is the
yeah.
funniest part of it. He's just like, yeah,
It's
sure,
straight.
man, I'd love to get some coffee with you
Sure.
sometime. That sounds great.
And you just see him slow pan, people to kill.
Yes.
And Billy's like 3rd on the list and
Yes.
right off the script. And I'm
And
like,
he puts the lipstick on and
Yeah.
just lays down.
the lipstick is a little like still, I'm just like, it's the added touch of it just being like, this is so bizarre, but like funny. And then like, okay, this one gets like a dark chuckle for me, and it says much more about our society and where we've gone in this day and age than the movie. But seeing that, and I'm jumping ahead a little bit here, by the end when
Is it
Eric, yeah,
I thought that's where you were going.
surely one of us was going to be in, and surely it was going to be me.
Yeah.
We have Eric waving a gun in a school, not aging well already, only to be resolved by with a would-be former bully, now school shooter, actually, Steve Buscemi shooting him in his ass.
That was funny 15 years ago.
It was, you know what?
8 years ago.
Now it's a
Nowadays,
bit a little too close to home, but still.
Not,
I-
not 4
Good,
days ago.
it was a good guy with a gun, boys.
Yeah.
It was a good guy with a gun.
Was it a good guy? Because he was definitely planning
to 2 kills.
Yeah.
Maybe he's like Dexter.
He wasn't even on
Yes.
that. This guy wasn't even on his list.
Oh,
so.
I bet well, I mean, did you actually watch it? He might have been on that list.
Yeah, actually,
There's
I want to
probably
go.
a reason
I
he
want to
showed
go
up
back.
there.
Yeah. Well, yeah. What?
Oh, Eric or something?
Yeah. No, the
Yeah,
shooter.
like
Maybe.
I think he was on
He
the
might have
list.
been.
I'd have to.
That would be interesting.
I mean, I'm
I
not
wonder
going to,
if-
but I would assume.
I'm not.
Maybe
Christ.
they didn't. I mean, maybe they were about the same age, and maybe they were like classmates or something.
That
Who? Steve Buscemi and Billy?
no.
Yeah,
Eric.
Eric.
No,
and
Eric
Billy.
wasn't on the list.
Yeah.
Oh,
the
he
other
wasn't?
people, on
I was
that
about to
list.
say, I don't know why
want to
he
keep
wasn't.
inundating you with trivia, but
Sure,
those are actually like writers on the movie.
Makes sense. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Eric's name wasn't on there.
I take it back. There's one funny scene with Eric, and that's when they're doing the cook, like the montage of like the stuff they're cooking, and for some reason
He
he's just
sets
on
himself on
fire.
fire.
It's-
That shit was.
Come
so
on, that
funny.
laugh when
no.
Billy's like pointing at
Yeah.
him and stuff, like that's funny.
no, it's not funny because of Billy's laugh. It's funny because he's randomly on fire in the middle of me.
And he's like on fire. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know
like,
how they did that.
It's not just
That shit
hands.
was
It's
real.
full fire. They couldn't afford the explosion budget for the O'Doyles, but they lit this man actually on fire, or an actor or somebody of that nature. So.
And plus, like, just that academic whole thing, like, some of the athletic things, like, just randomly Eric was so good at them, and then
Yeah.
randomly, like, Billy was, like, just coming in clutch randomly. Like,
Right.
oh, that was a nice little montage of just a couple of
like when they're doing
things.
the academic decathlon and they're doing the algebra equation. He's like right over here, and Billy just writes that Eric drinks his own pee.
Yeah.
But I was also going to say about like the actual like movie making itself. I mean, the writing on this movie is just like very stereotypical, like kind of comedy writing, like very like base, like where it's just like it's just jokes. There is more of a plot at least than like the skit based comedies that we've seen in the past, like Super Troopers and like Monty Python. I think it is more plot driven than those kind of movies. But to speak to the characters themselves, like to speak to this example that I'm trying to get at, Eric kind of like switching on a dime at the end, where like he's like kind of a villain, but he's not really a bad guy, and he just like randomly starts waving around a gun and is like, "I'll kill all of you."
That was
kind
0
of
to
thing.
100.
That was funny. That was still in the movie. Like, yeah, I expect weird stuff like that. There's a random clown who falls down and starts bleeding out. Like, it's just like it's for the sake of comedy. But the one that like actually got me a bit more this time was like noticing that Billy is like a menace. Like, maybe not a menace, but he's just like not a good guy and shouldn't really be getting everything that he gets at the end.
Yeah.
Again, I know that we said it's like typical like 90s kind of movie making, but still like getting the girl and the company at the end, even though he gives it away, still got me like a little bit.
You know what? Another just dumb thing that I thought of after like this whole agenda was forced upon him was like all of these poor teachers, these 12 teachers, presumably that are just having to like deal with him for 2 weeks and then like give him a test or like pass him or fail. Like that is so shitty of like him and his dad to have to like put him in that situation for those poor teachers.
For him to pass the first grade, he had to color a picture of a duck, and he colored it blue because he's never seen a blue duck.
And he really
before.
just wanted to see a blue duck.
You passed the first grade. That's quacktastic.
And then to spell whatever it was.
Couch.
Yeah.
Are you going to the mall later? And then after every time he passes a grade, he gets a huge party. That's actually Whitesnake, by the way, singing that song.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, that's actually them.
I think they have nothing better to do to be in this movie.
Yeah, they're at the end of their run.
Well, and by the 90s, they're
Tail end.
They're very cool still at that point, you know.
Nathan, what do you got? I know you've been quiet. I know this is going to be a low 2 for you, but get your voice in here.
I mean, I don't really have, like, I agree with Mason saying that the first majority of this movie I didn't like actively.
Yeah.
Like, it started really bad. I only really found parts that were referenced later, like, interesting, even.
Yeah.
Compared to the passive disliking you have on the second half of the film.
Cool. That should be
Yeah,
thing.
I love it when
I
he
don't
goes,
know.
"Goo!"
Like, I don't want to tear into this movie particularly because I don't think there's a lot that I want to like actively critique. It just wasn't funny to me, and the premise wasn't funny. So You started in a bad spot,
Right.
so you ended in a bad spot.
I totally get that.
Back to the simple concepts, right? If we're
Well,
oversimplifying
it
comedies that
really-
aren't funny.
Talking about
Yeah.
like whenever it started to maybe get good, like some of the relationships with those kids had been like formed. Like that was when I started to be like,
With
all right,
his,
he finally has
third,
some-
was it with those third graders? Like the one he grabs, like, I can't wait till I get to high school, Billy.
Don't you
Don't
ever say that.
What about the musical? Do we like the musical?
Oh my gosh.
No,
That
we
was
did not.
so out of place.
We did not
What-
like nor need
yeah,
the musical.
the musical.
What was that,
That
anyway?
was
He
very
said,
out of place.
What?
Oh my god. No, I'm just trying to think of like
the lyrics of the
music.
song, he's like,
Yeah.
I can't wait to go back to school. Thanks
Yeah.
for Veronica for beating the living shit out of me.
That's right. Yeah, it was after he.
Yeah.
Yeah, after he
And then the
got
look is
punched.
like, we're here to help you, Billy. Yeah,
Yeah, I hated that, to be honest. That
So-
was so dumb.
Something on rewatch.
that's the point of this movie.
Yeah.
It
To
was-
be dumb,
Yeah,
factually accurate. Yeah, to be dumb and hated.
Dominated.
Yeah, to age worse than milk.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
make you think like, man, all these people got paid to make this.
Yeah.
All these old ass actors,
Mhm.
old men,
Mhm.
had to stand around
In suits.
in suits
Yeah.
while somebody acted like a buffoon and was the lead character in the movie.
Speaking of, a lot of the, like, one of the guys, the guy who plays Carl, like, you know, there's Eric, the bad
Yeah,
guy,
and
and
then
then
there's
Carl, the
The
other
other
guy,
notable
the good
executive.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He apparently, like, was so mad about the making this movie, he didn't know that's what this movie was going to be, that, like, he never watched it, he never did anything. Like, he was so upset
Oh, and then he
with
was
the direction
associated
that it
with
went
it.
in. Yep.
If, I mean, to be fair, if you said,
I mean, I would be too.
I want to.
But you should know what you're signing up for.
Well,
like,
I mean,
I don't know how he.
Not always. Hollywood,
he
they might
read
be
the
like,
script.
Oh, yeah, okay. So
How
if
did
you-
he
I was
miss
gonna
it?
say, if
We
you
also
read the
don't know if
script-
he gets the script early or if it's day of props and
Well,
scripts.
I
production
will
maybe.
say too, he was in a few of those scenes where Billy was acting like a man child. So I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know if he could.
But those could have been also
necessarily-
shot at the tail end of the movie, and he may have think of it like
Maybe.
this. We got to think about all of the production ways that this person doesn't know how this happens.
Maybe
They
it's
don't get scripts ahead of
early.
times. They shoot the man-child scenes at the end for production reasons. Like, again,
Maybe.
thinking about it from that perspective, like, how long do you go into this movie before you're like, now wait a minute.
Something's not right here.
Why is there a man in a penguin suit on the stairs?
Everywhere I look.
Oh no.
I mean, even let's be honest, the premise, like just the outline of
Yeah.
what this movie is,
Yep.
should have told you this is going to be stupid.
Right.
Also, if you want to talk about scenes that go on too long, can we transition?
Sure.
Wait.
To
this,
they, them, or she
No,
or her?
that- them.
No, not fit. No, we're still talking. We don't have to go there yet.
I would still like you to answer the question: to they, them, or she or her?
So as soon as the dad and Billy, come to the conclusion that he needs 2 weeks in every single grade, which I thought was a little silly, a little unorganic, but that's okay.
Sure.
If it's a dance scene,
There
it's
is
appropriate.
it is the dance scene where he's like prancing down the steps, doing like a little jig for at least a minute and a half.
What'd you call me?
He does this thing down the steps
Answer that
and
one.
comes back up and then it just lingers for so long, and I was like, for that 5 minutes straight, I was like,
It was not 5 minutes. It was like 60 seconds.
What
no,
lyric?
not the dance. I'm talking
No,
about from like when he's talking to his dad, because he storms out of the thing, right?
Yeah.
He storms up the steps to like, Dad, no, don't give it to Eric, no.
Yeah.
And from like that moment until the end of the dance is like 5 minutes.
Yeah, because they have a little scene where like
Yeah.
he finally agrees. Like that's
But
the
he
crux.
dances for like a minute.
That's
so
when
I
the
mean,
next
yeah.
phase of the movie starts. Like
Yeah.
you need that bit of time. The dance, I can see why you don't like that.
That and the musical.
I liked it. I liked that little dance. Like I tried being able to recreate
You also
it,
like
but
the
I danced
first
so
20
big.
minutes of
Yeah.
this movie.
Because that's what the movie is just stupid. Like I can quote that entire section just because I
not
quote that
impressive.
all the time when he's like, "What day is it today?" Norm Macdonald goes, "October." Like it's like Nudie Magazine Day. Like it's all top tier.
Ugh.
I also really like the joke during the montage we didn't talk about where they're learning Spanish and like Eric is polishing the bust, learning how to do Spanish, and Billy's talking to his the gardener who's outside who's actually can
A
speak it
spy.
like
Yeah,
fluently.
right.
And he's like, blah, 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 blah. He's like, slow down. And he says it exactly the same again. He's like, oh yeah, I got it now. I don't care. I'm glad I enjoyed it.
Fat, thin, perfectly fit. It's that number one segment that I can't explain. Go, Mason.
It's definitely chubby. I mean, but it is a comedy. It goes on for some of these scenes, and you do need some of those like chunky parts to like move some of that comedy.
Yeah.
And if you're Nathan, hardly anything hits. If you're me, maybe they hit a little bit better, but you just have to pick apart a comedy for this thing, and it's not. I don't know. It's definitely chunky though. I think that a lot of the early parts of this movie, you said that it says it perfectly. It really sets up the movie for exactly how he's going to be and all this. They didn't need that much time to do it. If he's going to be talking he does like gibberish at the conference table, at the dinner table. He's just like, he's screaming like Donnie at the Wild Thornberries. He's like, he has his own language.
Yeah.
Again, I think, if anything, God, that scene could have been gone. It was just that soup. Anyways, it's chunky. I can't.
What's the runtime on this? 84 or 94 minutes?
It wasn't that long.
94, yeah.
Honestly, I really do think it's very fit for the reason that I think the scenes are like choppy when they need to be because it's just like a joke kind of thing, and then like the only time they're a bit elongated is when it's like advancing the plot, and that's again what I was saying earlier kind of differentiates it from those skit-based comedies, which I think personally gives it an edge because like they at least tried to like at least advance the plot a little bit more rather than just jokes for the sake of jokes. Kind of like Other Guys, I guess I would say. Like, I think it's kind of structured like the same. I'm not saying it's obviously the same. I'm saying like they're both like comedies at heart, but like it has a plot. Other Guys has more of a plot, obviously, but it just has a little bit something to push it forward. So I think it's very fit.
It's not fat because the runtime I think is fitting of a movie of what this movie's doing. But it's definitely got more than what I would like. So yeah, chubby is the right word for it on this one, Mason. Objectively, if I was going to be extra crude, I would be like, well, there was a lot I didn't like, and if I was cutting it, which is my normal approach to it, I would say there's like 3 scenes worth cutting. I would make this a short film. But I wouldn't even make this a short film. So I'll just say that it's chubby, but I wouldn't make this movie. But somebody did. Nathan.
It's fat.
The man of few words.
And the thing that's interesting about it is that it is 90 minutes. Pretty close to exactly that. Which, to me, is a deliberate thing where they edited it to have that amount of runtime. I don't know how much how much they cut out of that, but they definitely should have cut a lot more than what they did.
You're just thinking of all the stuff that they could have already cut, and
right.
like, what did
like
they leave?
There's so much more.
Did they film this pretty tight to the point to where they left in a whole bunch of crap just so that it hit 90 minutes?
Yeah. You're right.
Or did they shoot way more and they actually had cut this thing down to being,
what they thought was perfect.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like that, you would have to get the DVD and watch all the deleted extras.
I have it. If you want it, I have a physical copy. That's how I got. I don't have internet.
Price
So
give
I
it to
actually
you?
had the DVD. No.
Oh, that seems like something Price would give to people.
I got it in a 2-pack with Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison some years ago.
Well, Happy Gilmore still. I don't know. I haven't rewatched it in a second, and I thought I liked Billy Madison before I rewatched this one again, and I was like, oh.
Can I lead on to the question?
Please.
Okay, so everyone hold your thumbs out like this.
Okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, Nathan, you might not have seen some of these. Actually, all of these guys might not have seen all of these.
That's fair.
I want you guys to say if it's a movie that's better than Billy Madison, thumbs up. If
Okay.
it's worse, thumbs down. Okay?
So
I know.
the bar is Madison.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Dietz.
On memory?
All right. Back. Happy Gilmore.
Yeah.
All right. Uncut Gems.
I know
All
what
right.
you're doing.
Click.
You think Click is better than this?
Click is a little better.
You're
a little
insane.
better. Only
I
because
wouldn't give
it
you
hits,
that one.
It hits some like heartstrings a little bit.
In the most
This one
ham-fisted way
I agree.
possible.
Look,
Adam Sandler's a better
out of
character
this
in Click.
list, that is my only one that I'm a little shaky on. 51st Dates.
Yeah.
Not seen it.
All right. That's my question.
Oh, man.
A lot of thumbs up
Didn't
there.
even give me a Big Daddy? Come on, even Price.
Okay, so I missed quite a few. Big Daddy, I'm pretty okay
Absolutely.
with. Pretty impartial.
Yeah.
Underrated.
I think Big Daddy does the heartstring thing a lot better.
It does,
Yeah,
just
it's
because
actually-
of Dylan Sprouse.
It's actually good at that.
Yeah, it is good, you're right. And I probably missed
even,
about
even
a
though
million.
even though it's probably the worst Adam Sandler character as a person.
Yeah, he's
I
shitty.
hate him.
Yeah, I mean, but here's the thing: the movie acknowledges it's shitty,
Mm-hmm.
whereas Billy Madison rewards him for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this
Big Daddy.
The point of this question was just to lead to the fact that this is one of the worst ones that he made.
I will not say that. I do think that this is an okay, perfectly fine, and I'm glad that Adam Sandler has this in his resume, like in his time capsule.
Yeah.
But there are some way better movies of his that I think
chronologically
can be talked about.
Is this the first of his run? I don't.
One of his few first
It's
ones.
one of his first.
But like of the big ones, so it's like this, Happy Gilmore, Big Daddy, and
I would say
I know
like
Big Daddy's on the tail end. It's like 98, 99.
yeah, I was gonna say a lot of the ones I just mentioned were like in the 2000s.
But the thing is,
Yeah.
like, he's at least putting effort into this movie, which I think y'all are giving him a lot of crap for. Like this movie is like seen like not like effort.
no,
like
this
that-
is an SNL skit for 90
But
minutes.
like
Yeah.
he like there's
this
so
isn't
many.
much effort.
He
This
has
is-
so many. Like you didn't talk about his other movies where he's completely phoned it in, such as like that Halloween movie he just put on Netflix.
Oh my god,
All
I
of
forgot about
Grown
Hubie
Ups.
Halloween, the 2022 classic that Netflix bought for $8.
But like you're just naming
Yeah.
all the movies from his repertoire that like are seen
Good
as like the
movies.
best.
Yeah,
Whereas
but-
like he has a lot more worse movies.
So
yeah, that's fine.
all right, but also in fairness, if like we're playing the comparison game, we're playing him post his successful run
Yes.
versus him during. He should be doing more effort.
He should
here
be hitting
'cause
above the belt on
He's
this
a
movie.
he's a starving, somewhat famous comedian at this point.
And
like
all I could get was him and Chris Farley in SNL when I was watching this, which is
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah,
and
I
I
mean,
liked those skits.
there
Like,
was some of the better parts of
Yeah,
it. Yeah,
and
whenever it
this
felt
movie
more
is
skittish. And,
perfectly fine for it. I'm just saying that like me and Price have had this ongoing thing forever where I think Happy Gilmore might be one of the best Adam Sandler movies. Maybe not the best, but one of the top 3. And I don't know that
Without
this
thinking
one
about
hits
it, I'd
the
give it a
top,
top 3.
5. I don't think that this one hits even the top 5. It might be in the top 10.
I won't
for
say
me.
I won't say like bottom 3 because again these are the
No.
of this because he's got a whole bunch of new random movies I have
Yeah,
not watched
for
and
sure.
won't watch.
Yeah.
But like if we said like of his prime picks, you
This
know,
is definitely a
if we
prime
say
pick,
like of
yeah.
the top 5, is this like number 5? If this is top 7, is this number 7? Like yeah, probably.
Maybe.
Yeah. Anyways, scores.
Sure.
Nathan, start us out. How low does this
High
limbo
bar.
bar go?
Yeah, I didn't really care for my time with this. I didn't find it funny. I didn't think the premise was that interesting. I like the music choices.
Oh, yeah.
We're surprisingly good. Like they have the orchestral things at some points, and then like they have the
This did have an actually
copyright
surprising
songs.
score. Yeah. Like,
Yeah. Man, I can't give it anything good because I just didn't get anything good out of it.
that's right.
You get what
That's-
you get,
that's
so
fair.
Nathan.
So I'm gonna give it a 2.5.
Okay,
Mm.
I'll take it.
Hey, not a
That's 2
zero.
more points than I thought I was going to get so far on these reviews.
At least it's not long.
That's true.
Yeah. God, yeah, this movie's like a 5. Yeah. So it's not. It's fast, man. That's so much of it. It's
Help you
like
out a little bit.
there are chunks of it that are painful, this movie is not 2 hours. Thankfully, this movie's not even an hour 45. Thankfully, the soup scene is a mix of both horror and cringe, and I would never like to watch that scene again. God, there's so much of it that's aging poorly. School shootings. Again, that's debatably more worse about the society that we live in than the
Hashtag
movie.
me too. Assault.
The sexual assaults. This has a lot of the classic 80s and 90s. You don't want to put it under a microscope on current lens because man,
thank you.
it goes really bad.
I'm pretty sure someone says, like, retard at some point.
Yeah, I'm
too.
sure.
Yeah, it's when the little kid, like Billy's hitting on his mom when he's in first grade.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is Billy. Like, people they say that
People
he's
think
like
he's
retarded
special.
or
Oh,
something.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that's when Miss Lippy comes up and like puts the thing on his neck.
Thank you very much, Miss Lippy!
But overall, it's not even that, like, all of that stuff. Like, that stuff's just, icing on the otherwise very rotten cake that's just, like, unfunny.
It's an
Adam
icing on a
Sandler.
turd.
It is. Like, altogether, this movie is so bad, and then it has those things to worry about. And it's a comedy that just did not make me laugh other than, like, maybe a small handful of times. And they weren't, like, good, hearty laughs anymore. What I think was actually, this is my last thought on it, I think what was actually worse is that I remember having watched this movie and liking it before, right? And it's like, rose-tinted glasses with it. I remember thinking, yeah, Billy Madison's not that bad. It's like, it's got some funny moments. Maybe some stuff hasn't aged well. And then it was like, tinted glasses off. You're like a full-functioning adult now. And I'm like, God bless. This movie sucked and I was wrong.
I wish Eric would have won.
Yeah, Eric was right. You know what?
He should have shot him.
He should have shot him. And then maybe not the teacher, because whatever, like, Sonya Blade's like pretty fire, but like,
She might have gone after him after.
I know. Then
She was really
Yeah.
He would have the company.
Good point, Nathan.
Adam Sandler's the bad guy in this movie. Quit awarding and praising him. There you go. Mason.
This movie is not as bad as that side of the couch is leading on to me. I give it a 7.
Wow.
It's still a good Adam Sandler movie. He's a very niche actor. You're gonna get probably the same type stuff for most of his movies. I think like Spanglish, Click, and a few others.
Spanglish.
Zohan.
Oh, God.
He was
I
in
kept
that movie.
thinking
Yeah.
Jack and Jill.
Jack and Jill.
My-
I now pronounce you Chuck and Larry.
You're my boy. No, I like that movie.
But what about Punch Drunk Love?
Oh my God,
I
they're
don't
so.
watch that one.
Nathan, have you seen any of these?
Fuck no.
Yeah.
I now pronounce you Chuck and Larry is actually kind of good.
No. Please continue.
I like that.
That's
Anyways.
something you would. Wait, was Will Smith in that movie?
No,
No.
it
Now,
was
what am I thinking
Kevin
of?
James.
Oh, I'm thinking of.
Oh, that
Hitch.
girl's in it too. That really
Hitch.
hot one.
Hitch, yeah.
Yeah.
And Chuck and Larry.
Was it like Eva Mendes or something?
No, Justin Timberlake's.
Oh, Mila Kunis.
Mila Kunis.
No, his
Oh,
wife.
Jessica Biel.
Yeah,
Jessica Biel.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
The one with the wagon. Yeah.
Yes.
Dylan always knows.
Damn.
Damn, she got wagon.
Yeah.
No, but this is definitely not some of his worst work in my opinion. I just think that it definitely doesn't hit quite as high as a lot of those that I mentioned earlier. That was my only point. But chlorophyll has not been mentioned. I'm surprised because Bryce actually
More like
quotes that
chlorophyll.
from week to week. He'll say it time after
I
time.
have heard him say that.
Man, it's
several
been
Yes.
stuffy in here. Don't talk to me.
This girl's over here wanting to make out with me. Anyways, yeah, it's a 7. I didn't hate my time with it. Bring it up, buddy.
All right.
Come on, Nathan.
Yeah, he means it.
Why didn't we
All
put
right.
the thing out?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I dressed up as him for Halloween, Nathan. Come on. Of course it's a 10. I've been talking.
Just completely covered.
Yeah, covers our scores
It's
too.
not legible anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been talking about this movie ever since we started this podcast. I don't know why I haven't put it on the wheel. Maybe it's just one of those I didn't want you all to suffer through. Tim and Eric's like one of those I'm just like, I want you all to suffer. I don't care. This was like twice.
Twice.
2 times.
Need
Right.
to remind you.
Yeah.
I adored this movie. I mean, when I met my wife for the first time, it was our first real date. We went to a winery, which I don't drink, by the way. And I remember I was like asking those first date kind of questions. I was like, "What's your favorite movie?" And she was like, "You're gonna think it's really stupid." And I was like, "What?" And she said, "It's probably like either Step Brothers or Billy Madison." And I was like, "What?" So like we quote this to each other all the time. I mean, just every small thing from it. Like when he at the first part where he finally like chases the penguin. And he falls face down on the mat, and the business people are going in, and he just randomly just goes, leg, like that. Like, we quote that all the time, and I'm not giving this points purely for the quotability of it. Like, I have enjoyed this movie since I didn't enjoy movies. Back when I was, like, a stupid kid and, like, understood everything about Inception and listened to Nelly Furtado. I was like, this is like,
like a bird on my way.
Okay, thank you, boys.
Honestly, a banger. Quit knocking on Nelly.
But and loving Holes, like loving the movie Holes,
well, it's the
Yeah,
best
so
way
he
to
did
do
do
the
this.
adaptation that's existed.
I can't remember the name of that song.
but like this is like the one movie that has stood the test of time for me. Like if people are asking me for my style of humor, this is one of the things I'll put on there. It'd probably be like this and Barry and I don't know, something else. Just like because this like I love this stupid kind of humor, and this movie
We know you do.
exemplifies that. Like it's just like good toss away line after toss away line. Like it doesn't dwell on jokes long, which is why I love it so
Yeah, it just
much.
dwells on scenes instead.
No, it doesn't. It does
Yeah, it
not
does.
dwell on the
It
scenes.
definitely does.
But like, there's just like little throwaway lines all the time. Like when they're walking in with the old lady in the 3rd grade class, she's like, "Why do horses wear shoes? Do they wear socks? Is anybody listening to me?" And that's just like an establishing shot for where we're at now, and it's like said under her
There are
breath.
so many more of those in Happy Gilmore when the grandma is in the nursing home.
This
My
is-
fingers hurt.
That's not.
Well, guess whose back's
but
gonna
that's-
hurt because you just pulled laundry.
But that's not a throwaway line. That is a
That's
conversation because there's a call and response. These
Yeah.
kind of things are just like it's just a one line kind of thing.
This
It's like
is
just
making me put
hilarious.
Happy
Yeah.
Gilmore on this
Well,
wheel.
like I would love that. I love that movie.
We will go toe to toe.
Like there's
Can
so
you
many.
put Happy Gilmore on here
I
finally?
might.
And again, just from that one field trip scene where they're like, "Who could eat 30 bagged lunches?" and it's just got those 3 guys just laughing and eating sandwiches. Like there's so much to love about this movie. There's so many just random things that happen that are just stupid for the sake of being stupid. Like Billy sitting on the water hose, just being like, "That's nice." Like I love this movie so much, and it's not long. Thank God. Like if it was much longer, like I would put it below a 10, but like. It hits on all cylinders the whole time for me that it's there, and it doesn't stay longer than it needs to. Again, Billy isn't like I notice is a bit of a jerk now, but it's just one of those things. Just like whatever, like it's a comedy, whatever. Like at least it's still funny. He's not like I don't know, like being actively racist or something like that. I don't know. So it still holds up to me, and I still could watch it any time.
This is like such a. I will say this about this review as we start to cue it out. And for the record, somebody tell me what the critics thought of it at this time, because that's
a great point. When I was looking on
This is gonna be ugly.
It's got a 69 on something.
Nice.
When I was looking at IMDb for like trivia and stuff, like the top Metacritic score or something was a 19.
Yeah. So what I think is actually really interesting about this review while you look at critic scores is that like none of us are disagreeing about how stupid and bad this is. You just keep embellishing it.
Yeah,
like,
you love its
right.
stupid and badness.
So, apparently on the Rotten Tomatoes thing, this had a 41% on Rotten Tomatoes with an audience score of 79%, which means that 79% of my audience scores, I don't trust.
Well, I was going to say 25% of us absolutely loved this movie.
So, yeah, this is the inverse of that then, right?
Yeah.
So, Price would have been an excellent movie reviewer back in the 90s.
Yes, but not nowadays.
But not so great nowadays, so...
I love it. But it's one of those movies where I understand why you all don't like it.
Yeah.
The only movie I can think of like where I got that was Promare. That was the only one I can think of I was actively like upset at you all at. But like this one, I'm like, yeah,
I'm getting a headache thinking about it.
I like that you like this movie so much. Like you can tell when you're talking about it that you really like this movie.
That you could hear people, rightfully so, and you agree with them say that this is a bad movie and here's why, and you're like, I agree, I love it.
Well, drool's coming out the side of it.
Right.
You remember that one part? You remember that one?
Price will admit that this is a big floppy turd, but it's a dried up turd in his glass case at his home.
It doesn't smell as bad as a fresh one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On that note, we've got 2 movies left on the wheel, barring any random circumstances that could intervene.
Can we just re-spin if it is one of
those?
those?
I don't make the rules.
I want new movies.
Oh no!
Oh my God! Well, if you liked Price's movie this week, then you'll like it next week.
I'm back on top.
Puss and Boots.
Now this is gonna. What? It was really that time. Whatever. Like, there's only one movie left. It was like a 50-50 shot on this. Now this next movie, I will be upset if y'all are like, I don't get it. It's stupid.
Well, we'll see. But Puss and Boots 2 is coming up next. And spoiler for the following week. We probably won't even spin the wheel for it, but I probably will because it's just fun.
What if I told you I hadn't seen the first one? Is that gonna
You're fine. Everybody's totally fine. I haven't seen the first one.
Cool.
Still?
How did you watch the
after
second
you
one
were
and watch
so
the first one?
Because everybody I've seen is like the second one's amazing, the first one's like meh. It's like a DreamWorks movie.
God,
so
dang it.
No, I'm not watching the first one. You're not missing anything.
I'll probably watch it.
Probably not. Okay, yeah, you will. You like to do this for some reason.
Just
are you gonna watch the second one first, or are you gonna go first or second because it bothers you?
I'll go first.
Okay.
At least have your eyes on the second one when you're watching it. Like, try not to do anything else. If you're watching the first one,
whoa.
I just thought it was weird that they gave a sequel to one of the worst Shrek characters.
Yeah.
I agree.
Maybe the worst Shrek character.
Well, but he hits for like a different demographic.
Furries.
Like, you know, the minion.
He hits for furries.
The minion demographic.
Yeah.
Like those kind of people are like, oh, he's the funny little cat man that's named after Puss. Like,
whose demographic is Minions?
Yeah.
And why are there 6
you know,
movies?
40, 50s up bosses love Minions.
Yeah. Just like I'll tell you off camera so I don't offend anybody.
Yeah, he's going to say something offensive. Cancel him anyway. I don't care if it's recorded. Anyway, guys, that's our show. Make sure to tune in next week for
Puss
and Boots 2.
And Boots.
Dos. We haven't seen the first one. Let us know in the comments below if you have. Let us know in the comments below if you think that Billy Madison should get rewarded for being the worst character in this movie. Did Steve Buscemi do anything wrong? Let us know in the comments below. And make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell.
That was the nice shade of lipstick he had on.
Honestly, it was.
It was good
really,
for his
really
skin
brought
tone.
out the color in his eyes.
He knew what he was wearing.
He's looked like 80 years old for the longest
He hasn't
time.
aged, or he's aged so much of that. Because he's in Con Air, too, and he looks identical.
Oh my God. Yeah, he is.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
With Nicolas Cage's glorious mullet.
Dude, don't make me put Con Air on this wheel.
Dude,
that
they're
would be a
overdue.
really fun.
I'll do it.
Overdue.